just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a very merry episode of Bloke in a Bar. Who says that blokes can't get in the spirit of Christmas? Who says that? And Rain, I know you're watching this. Santa is real. Santa is real. He may look a bit like Dad and got a big beak, which is not usually depicted like that. But look, we're in 2023. We're in 2023. Santa can be whatever he wants to be, baby. And right now he's the beak. We've got the great guru with us. How you going, the root?
Oh, going well, mate. I got the Adam Gilchrist ears today.
Timmy, mate, how you going, brother?
Good, mate. Tell you what, Santa's had a big off-season. He's in shape.
What about you, Hammy? How you going, brother?
Very well, Father Kempmas. Make sure, Rain, if you're watching, leave a little bit of liver out for Santa Claus this year.
A little bit of liver.
Tree.
So Merry Beakmas.
Merry Beakmas.
Merry Beakmas, everyone. Obviously, this is going to be our last episode, maybe forever. We might get cancelled for this episode. But for the year, it's our last episode. Matty, he's going away, and I'm sure the boys want a little rest. So last episode for the year, and then we return, I think, on the 8th of January. On the 8th of January. For Bloke, we'll still have Wednesday podcast, and that's it. And then, so there'll probably be like 2 weeks with no podcasts, from 2 to 3 weeks from no podcast, because you get back from Bali?
Bali, yeah.
In what, January 3rd or something?
About that, yeah.
And then we're back into it. What are you boys? What's the schedule like for you boys?
I was about to say, Maddie's holiday started last night, I think.
Oh, well, okay, a bit of
quite
goss,
the
eh?
evening.
Like a bit of goss, eh? We're the boys on the beers. Like
He enjoyed himself.
Bit of carry on. Hey,
Plenty.
look, to be honest, Matty on the beers can go either two ways. Best night of your life, or you want to punch the bloke.
Goes from 0 to 100 very quickly.
Bit from column A, bit from column B, I think, last night there, wasn't there?
Look, if you haven't punched your mate, but also had the best night of your life, is he really your mate? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. As always, guys, brought to you by Bloke Beer. Get in your local. I mean, the weather is perfect for a nice cold beer. Easy drinking. It's Aussie spirit in a can, guys. Aussie spirit in a can. And it's a beer for blokes that turn up. So turn up to your local independent liquor store. Grab a case of Bloke Beer. A beautiful, easy drinking lager. And we've also got our MIDI. Oh, man, this fake beer, the stuff keeps getting in my mouth.
Fake?
Yeah. You can't notice?
Interesting.
Yeah, well, sorry to burst everyone's bubble. This beer's not real. It's not real. Look, the internet. What is real on the internet these days?
Not for us to say.
You can't trust anything. Can't trust anything. How you been, boys? I mean, first of all, as it is the last episode of the season, or of the year, massive thank you to everyone that's listened this year. Had a huge year. I think the stats were up quite a significant amount. I think we had 50% increase just on Spotify alone in listeners. I think we were like 60,000? Just on Spotify, we were 60,000 people's top 10 podcast. I think it was about 30,000 top 5 and 20,000 top 1. So if you double that, because we actually have more listeners than Apple, you're looking at like, I don't know, let's just say 100,000 people's favourite podcast. And yous all should reflect on that, because I don't know why yous like this podcast so much. That's actually a representation of you, not me. So maybe in the off season, have a good look at yourself in the mirror and say, why do I listen to Bloke so much? Now, all jokes aside, a massive thank you to everyone on the can we say panel, or is that too official?
You can say what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's our house, baby.
Right.
Yeah.
Panel's all right. On the panel, we really appreciate the support, guys. It's been an incredible year, and as always, instead of just saying thank you, we will try to repay you in good content going forward. Gira, you got anything to say to the people?
No, thank you. Thank you to all. It's been a big year.
Yeah. What about you, Timmy? Anything to say to the people?
Very much the same, yeah. Listen to us dribble every Monday. It makes life pretty good, so they keep tuning in. We get to keep doing it, so
It's so
days.
good. Yeah, thanks so much, guys. We really do appreciate it. We never ever walk in here and go, oh, man, this sucks. We understand how lucky we are to be able to be doing this. So we really do appreciate the support. Let's get into it, eh?
Oh, thanks for the people at Sportsbet as well. We've got the team back there said to send our regards. Merry Christmas. Thanks for putting up with us for a year, and back again next year.
Yeah, no, absolutely back again next year. Sportsbet, you've had a fair few Christmas parties. There's been whispers going around that you're going back to back nearly.
Yeah. I've done well to squeeze you in between Christmas functions, but I'm starting to feel it a little bit. So I'm almost hitting my point of Christmas party fatigue. But
in saying that,
yep,
got on the beers last night.
Yep.
You had some 1RM testing this morning.
We
And
did
you
have,
got the-
had a bit of 1RM testing today. Deadlift on the cards today.
And then for the people listening, for the plebs, that means 1 rep max.
1 rep max for those playing at home.
Yeah.
And against the odds, with a few beers under the belt yesterday, new PB.
New PB on the deadlift.
New
Hammy,
PB.
he's done it.
He's done
Yeah.
it. Is this your flu game?
Get it? That was my flu game, my beer game, my beer lift. They'll refer to that in years to come. But yeah, very, very excited.
And so you've got bench press.
Squat and bench still to come.
Yep. Not
feeling as confident on those. They're as I say, the dead was my beer.
So
my
you're a
beer
power
lift.
man. You're a power man.
I'm a power man.
Yeah,
yeah.
Not a controlled strength of power man.
Yeah, that's right. So 180 today. I did request if I cracked the 180, if they could play Chase the Sun, the dart song, and get everyone to join in and get around me.
Yep.
But they didn't do that. But let's not let that get in the way of a great PB. Been working towards for months. So good start to the day.
I thought he was at millions last night.
Really?
I didn't think he'd be there.
Well, but he's made of different stuff.
He is.
What stuff are you made of?
Different stuff. Bloke and Bloke mid, both great beers. So make sure you give yourself a slab this Christmas. Yeah.
That's one of your best, Hammy. That's one of your best. Now, it's time to face a bit of music. The Big Bash, it's back. However, it's been a very disrupted start to the season. First 2 nights of the season saw Brizzy Heat absolutely dominate the Stars.
Your boys.
Look, some of us get cricket on this panel, some of us don't. I understand. Hammy, walk us through it. Brought to you by Sportsbet. Absolute legends over there. And as Hammy said, they've been incredible partners. Thank you so much to Sportsbet. And a Merry Beakmas to Sportsbet as well.
Thank you very much. I'll pass that on to the team back at home. So basically, the tips that we had last week, we had the Heat and Stars game to kick us off. We also had some futures predictions as well, which we don't have a result for. We had some futures bets that went up as well, of course, on Friday that you boys spoke about. Bit of wet pitch in Geelong and a bit of La Nina sweeping through Adelaide has affected those a little bit, but we're going to hang in there.
Yeah.
We're going to hang in there. But the Heat missed out on a game, so that's impacted your bet. I also had Spencer Johnson in there, the wicket taker from the Heat, so I'm under the pump a little bit. Jake Fraser-McGurk, they only got 5 overs in last night, so it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's a long summer, isn't it, Kempy?
Yeah, but we're all about turning up here. We turn up regardless of the results around us and get the job done.
We do. So, all right, here's how we went last week. So the Heat and the Stars game to kick us off was basically the big showpiece event. We'll kick off with Denon. So we had to get your head-to-head, your top run scorer, top wicket taker. You got correct. The Brisbane Heat to win 13 plus. They won by 103 runs. So
There you go.
very good start there.
Thanks for coming, baby. Thanks for coming. Easy dub.
That's basically. And I hope this doesn't spoil your Beakmas, but didn't go so well from there. You had Maxwell top runs, didn't happen. Top wicket taker. There was actually no selection from you there. You said, I'm going to let you boys do your top wicket takers, and we'll come back to me at the end.
And we didn't.
And you never came back. We went through. So I know it's the end of the year, Kempy, but a little bit of attention to detail. Got to make sure you keep that.
Is that on? I said we'll come back to me, and it's you as the host of Face the Music. You didn't come back to me.
But as the host of the show, Kempy, you're steering it around, and I thought it might have been on you to just take the
So bad
reins.
communication there.
Bad communication, which I've decided to deduct 1.5
Oh,
points for.
fuck off.
Fuck, he's got it in for you.
That is unbelievable.
So total points of minus 0.5 there.
You've ruined my. Now my son's crying at home. Now my son is crying at home. You've ruined his Christmas.
Well, I think I've taken a few points off some other people, so hopefully that can get him going again. Watching at home.
I don't think I've got any points to take off. This is
No, you deserve to lose a lot of points after last night. I'm
please.
sure it'll come
More
up.
on that in a moment.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Funny you bring that up, Guru.
Serial killer.
Guru, we'll start with you first. You had the Stars head-to-head, didn't happen. Stoinis, top runs, didn't happen. Xavier Bartlett, top wickets, didn't happen. So you got a duck egg for Christmas there. Little lump
And,
of coal.
and at the top of the leaderboard too.
Yeah, you are. So currently a chip leader on 0, Guru. at the moment.
Hang on a sec. I'd be on 0 too, wouldn't I?
No, I took 1.5 points. I see you're minus
You took
0.5.
1.5.
Well, you didn't
the
put it-
fuck?
You didn't put a guess in.
But 1.5. When has there ever been 1.5 taken off?
Oh, about
He
90
doesn't make the
seconds
rules,
ago.
he just enforces them.
That's outrageous.
More on,
But you are the Grinch.
more on that? More
You
on
are the Grinch.
Well, yeah, I think a few people are going to be calling me the Grinch by the end of this. So, Timmy, we'll get to Timmy now. So, Timmy had the Stars head-to-head. Sam Harper top runs. He scored 2, a gritty 2 off 4 balls there.
it was more than Stoin, wasn't it? Just for the record.
Yeah, it was. But then you had correct Coulton Isle top wicket taker for the Stars. He had 1 wicket, but so did 2 other blokes. So I've given you a third of a point there.
Thanks, mate. I
You share
appreciate
the
that.
points. But I want to just put this one to
Yeah, here
you,
we
Father
go.
Beakmas.
Here we go.
Yeah, okay.
Whether we take 0.83 of a point off, which would make him level with you, or if we let this one ride. So yesterday we were sitting at at the pub, enjoying a couple of beers. Beautiful real estate there, akin to Hammy's Wicket Taker Bingo, just sitting below the head-to-head bets in the sports bet app there. Beautiful view of Bondi Beach, enjoying it. We had a couple of jugs of other beers. One was one brand, one was another. And Timmy was pretty keen on having just the one brand of beer. Fills his beer up out of the jug. He goes, hang on, is this the beer I've been having or the other beer? He said, oh, no, that's the other beer. So Timmy just pours it back in the jug out of his glass he's been drinking out of.
What?
And we all went, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
He's like, what? We're like, nah, that's not play on. That might come up in Face the Music tomorrow, and it has. So do you think we deduct a point for that sort of...
Let me justify myself before it does.
Well, good luck.
Kempy needs the full picture. Now, firstly, I'm happy to be held accountable for my actions. This did occur, and I'm not denying it. However, there was a lot going on at the time, and I think Kempy will appreciate it. Firstly, he's a Supercoach fan that we know that he is. So this was about 20 minutes before the game, the Big Bash game kicked off last night. Being the content creator that I am, trying to help the SC Playbook faithful, I am scrambling on my phone at the last minute to get the teams out to the people, doing analysis on the lineups, all the while trying to fix my own Supercoach team because there'd been some big news come out of the team list that dropped, whilst trying to name the 2004 Cowboys round one team and who played lock for them. It was Travis Norton, by the way, for anyone out there wondering. With the beer, it was a clean carp. I started pouring it in, realised it was the wrong beer, and I threw it back in. So it was a clean carp, back into the jug. Talk to me.
I failed to see the connection. Or everything you just said about Supercoach and everything. What has that got to do with you pouring your beer back in?
He's trying to put you off the scent there, Kempy.
Wouldn't it mean if you were distracted, you'd put the beer down and be focused on the things that are distracting you?
I'm trying to get the teams out and do all this at once while pouring the beer. Then I went, shit, wrong beer, put it back in. As I said,
outrageous.
Not a strong point. But
Oh, my God. No, that is absolutely a deduction.
Yep.
And I'm surprised you didn't throw the beer in his face, if I'm being honest.
I thought about it. I thought I'll do that in
The
more of a
disrespect.
metaphorically throw the beer in his face in the content sense on the show the next day. So I'm going to deduct, off your advice there, Kim, I'm going to deduct 0.84 of a point, which takes Timmy now to minus 0.51. You're minus 0.5, and Guru is our leader at the moment on 0. There's been a hotly contested final round of Face the Music.
I'm happy to cop that. It wasn't a great moment.
Matty, you had Spencer Johnson top wicket wrong, but you had the Heat head-to-head, and you had Colin Munro top run scorer. He made 99. Matty is at a slight advantage here. He's a big Indian cricket fan, as we've seen in the last couple of weeks, watches a lot of IPL, goes to the Indian kebab shop and you also took your partner out for Indian the other night as well, Matty.
Have we got a sleeper?
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
I think we might have an Indian double agent in our friggin'... Have you been turned by the Indian government? Have they? I think he has been turned by the Indian government. If we need to fucking... Hey, listen, Albanese, if you're watching, we may have a sleeper cell.
Yeah.
At Bloke headquarters.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And the fact that he cried so much about, it was a mistake and I should have gone after Australia, and then doubles down on the passion for his Indian brothers.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Damning evidence.
It is damning evidence.
He's saying he hasn't got a mic, but his silence is deafening. I will say that much. Up here. And this will actually be a bit of a test for Albo because they're both Rabbitohs fans. How's he gonna deal with Matty? We'll have to wait and see in the new year.
Listen, I think Albo puts the country before the Rabbitohs.
Yep.
I think he does, and I think that he may be deported.
Well, this will be an interesting litmus test. Watch this space. So anyway, Matty, despite betraying your country, you are the leader on 2 points at the moment. And then not my best round of tipping. I had the Stars, Harper and Johnson for a total points of 0. But that hits me an equal second this week. So that is Face the Music. For the final time this year, that is the results. I'm going to get a couple of predictions from you guys for the summer cricket coming up, because by the time we get back, Australia will have played 3 tests against Pakistan. And that series will be done and dusted. So I want to get your series prediction. So whether that's a 3-0, 2-1, whatever you think the score might be. Top Aussie run scorer, top Aussie wicket taker. And we will get these priced up and whacked on the site after today as well. So, Father Kempmas, you have the new ball. What is your series prediction?
My series, obviously Australia to win.
Yep. So there's 3 tests. What's your score line?
2-1.
2-1.
Oh. Just doing a bit of math here.
Yep. Take your time.
Yep. 2-1 to Australia.
Yep. Okay.
2-1 to Australia.
Yep.
I think Warner Top runs?
on his victory lap.
Yep. Just to answer the naysayers.
Yep.
And I think Paddy Cummins, top wicket taker.
Cummins, top wicket
yeah.
taker.
Yeah, Paddy Blue Eyes.
Which, just to dig a little bit deeper there on your tips there, Father
Sure.
Cameras, which test do you think we drop? Perth, Sydney or Melbourne? And why?
Yeah, look, I think that it'll be the one where we score less runs than they do.
Yep.
And I think the reasons why is because they have more runs than us.
Yep. Can't fault that. Guru, who you got?
3-zip,
Yep.
Australia. I'm going to go Uzi,
Yep.
top run scorer.
Yep.
And yeah, I'll go Paddy Cummins as well.
Yep. Timmy?
3-0, Australia. Marnus is going to get an absolute busload of runs.
Yep.
Could break some records. Mm-hmm. And I was going to go Cummins, but we'll go the GOAT, Gaz Lyon.
Yeah, he's back in.
Yeah.
Gary's back in.
Yeah.
I will go Australia 3-0.
Yep.
Uzi, top runs.
Yep.
And I'll go Stark, most wickets.
Starkey. Okay. I'm going to go Aussies 2-1. Oh, sorry, 2-0. I think we'll have a washout or a draw. La Nina keeps ruining the Sydney test. I hope I'm wrong. But just to give it a bit of variety, I've got to go Australia 2-0. I'm going to go Marnus top runs. And I think I'm going to go with Gary as well, top wicket taker. So we'll see how we go there. That's for the test. And we've got a T20 as well tonight. So we may as well put in some tips for that one. We got the Hurricanes versus the Sixers. They were both $1.90 this morning. The Hurricanes now $1.79. The Sixers $2.10. Can I get a head-to-head, a top run scorer and a top bowler?
Take us away, Kempy.
You know what? I'm feeling very, I'm in the spirit. So how about you boys go first, and then you can come back to me.
I will, all right.
Okay.
I'll make sure I do this week. Timmy, take us away.
Nathan Ellis, top wicket taker.
Yep.
Top run scorer, James Vince.
Yep.
I'll go Hobart to win. McDermott runs. Meredith wickets.
Sixers to win.
I'll go Sixers to win. I'm going to go, who will I go? I'll go Hughes, top run scorer. Mm-hmm. And bowler. Kempy, anything for me?
I'm still doing a bit of research.
Well, your man, Guru for top wicket taker, Paddy Dooley, will be going around tonight.
Yeah, give me Paddy Dooley.
Yeah, for the Canes.
Obviously. Shit down.
I'm going to go Hurricanes. Now, the home team has won 16 of the Hurricanes' last 17 games. So down there at Launceston, also where I was born tonight, so I feel a great affinity to the UTAS arena. Hobart Hurricanes to win. I'll go. I might take McDermott as well, top runs, and I'm going to take Paddy Dooley as well. I think top wickets.
Please share with us what that Google search was. I am so intrigued.
Now listen, boys. I haven't looked on Google, mate. I've just been thinking through my head the squad list. I'm going Hurricanes to win.
Yep.
I reckon Heelslet's going to have a great night on the bat.
Sammy Heaslett.
And Meredith, mate, he's been bowling the house down.
Riley Meredith.
Yep.
We, of course, had the Meredith Music Festival over the weekend as well, so he'll be up and about for it.
Exactly.
Yep.
So there you go. And
like
obviously, I'm going to go Hurricanes to win.
The Canes.
The
Off
Canes.
the back of that stat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. I have thrown one more in here, and I've done it for Matty because he's a big India cricket fan. I just need a head-to-head here, boys.
Okay.
Nothing too complicated. They start their T20 series against South Africa on Wednesday night. So who you got there, head-to-head, India or South Africa?
I'm going to go South Africa for a bit of revenge.
Yeah.
From
Your
what?
boys, South Australia.
Yeah, South Australia.
Yeah.
Bit of revenge,
Yep.
I reckon.
Yep.
And yeah, that's what I'm going.
I'm going to go Team Maddie. I'm going to go India.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go with Maddie's Indians. And while we're at it, shout out to the West Indies, towed up the Poms in that series. 2-1.
Hashtag England lol. Get it trending. Hilarious. Great way to end the year.
Obviously I'll go India.
Yep. Oh, duh.
Obviously.
Not sure what. You probably didn't need to come up for that, to be honest.
Jesus.
We could have.
You danced like you were on Bollywood walking up here just then.
I'll take South Australia at $2.15. India $1.71. So that's it.
That's it.
We'll come back to those in early January there.
Early Jan, baby.
Yeah.
Early Jan. I tell you what, it's going to be a big year for Face of Music next year. Mm-hmm. We get some big bets on, some big, some big ways to show that you're holding yourself accountable.
Yep.
Some big ways to show.
We're going to take it to the net. We have spoken about that. We're going to really raise the bar, I think, on the some
Yes.
of the, not punishments, but the consequences.
Well, it's taking yourself to account.
Yeah, it is.
You know, here on Bloke, that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We're not going to shy away from the fact that we got something wrong. We're going to, unlike Timmy, who tried to excuse his way out of a terrible repour of a schooner into a fucking jug. Is that? I'm surprised you didn't get kicked out.
Yeah.
I'd also like the security tapes from the Bondi RSL because I'm not convinced it was a clean cup. I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
So is that a bit of misinformation?
Yeah, I reckon that's, yeah.
Wow, a bit of false
propaganda.
Is that a false flag? He's false flagged you.
It was clean.
Oh, he doesn't sound confident. Oh,
Time will tell, I guess.
wow.
Nah.
Oh, my God. Oh, well, lucky it's the end of the year because it would have been downhill for the rest of the year for you, Timmy. That's Face the Music brought to you by Sportsbet. Massive thank you to the legends over at Sportsbet. Always appreciate the support. If you're going to have a punt, you do it with Sportsbet, the best in the business, but make sure to always gamble responsibly. You win some, but you lose more. Now, boys, biggest news from last week. Olakau'atu signs an 8-year deal with Manly until 2031, reportedly worth a total of $8 million. Now, this doesn't mean he'll earn $1 million each year. I'd assume it would be a back-ended deal. Guru, what are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, it's a long time, isn't it? It is a long, long time. And I think, you know, we spoke about it pre-show that I think everyone's natural reaction is to go, fuck, $1 million, that's crazy. But, you know, as we've said through the last few weeks, salary cap changes and whatnot. I guess for people at home, Kempy, where would you actually sort of equate it to over the next few years? How would you explain it?
Yeah, so basically right now, so the deal's starting next year, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
800 grand is about $1 million. It's about 20%. You've looked at it as well.
So the way I roughly look at it is, and this is from analysis from people far more intelligent than I, but I think from about 5 years ago, the players on around that 800, 900, $1 million from 5 years ago, you roughly add about 200K to it. So $1 million a year for Olakau'atu now would be the equivalent 5 years ago of around about 800K.
800K. And so if you were to sit here and go, Olakau'atu has just signed a 3-year deal, 800K a season, you'd go, yeah, that's about right. Like, it's a lot, but he is a top-tier back rower that most likely will play Origin in the next year or so. So although the $1 million sounds like a lot, it's not as much as it seems like to us at the moment. And we'll just get used to these numbers as it get, you know. I'm sure 5 years ago when people started signing contracts, they were going, holy shit. Yeah. I think the biggest question is the 8-year length of the deal. That is, it's quite surprising. Massive congratulations to Olakau'atu, though. Bloody get your deal. Like, that sets you up for life.
Yeah, shout out to him and his management. It's an unbelievable deal. And yeah, the 8 years is what worries me quite a bit. And he's shown over the last, 2 to 3 seasons, he's a fantastic back rower. But, geez, 8 years is just so long. If I personally, I don't think I'd sign, in particular, forwards. I don't think I'd ever sign forwards to deals like that.
Would you, again, the market pressure, I think, changes, as a club. You are trying to get into the 8, you're trying to play finals footy. The question, I think, should be for all of us, and, we're going to have different opinions on this, of the understanding that you could lose that guy. Not could, you definitely would. And there's definitely multiple clubs that would sign him for 800 grand a year, probably 3 to 4 year deal. I guess that's the question we need to ask ourselves. Yeah. If you're in Manly's shoes and there's a bunch of clubs that will pay 800K for him, what do you need to do to keep him, especially with, I don't think they have 800K in the cap over the next 2 to 3 years to sign him. So I think in their mind, they're sitting there going, all right, we want to keep you. So what we'll do is you put you on unders now, probably about 600K, I'd say. But then in the years where these guys come off contract, you will be upgraded to probably your market value. That's the question, I guess.
Yeah, which, makes complete sense. I don't know. It always worries me, especially with forwards, especially with guys like him that are high impact. It takes a toll on your body.
Yeah.
And, I also look at the position he's in right now. He plays on the right edge for Manly, sitting outside DCE, who won't be there forever. Are they going to be able to get another halfback of his quality, giving him service like that? Reality is probably not. DCE is top tier. That's my only hesitations. But you're right, mate. If you don't, there would have been a lot of clubs lining up for this signature. So if you don't go long term like that, you potentially don't keep him.
And we always, in league, and it's fair, we always look at the glass half empty to a degree.
Yep.
What if he fulfills his potential? He's on unders in 4 years' time. What do you reckon, Timmy?
I don't like the deal for Manly, from being honest. I think for Olakau'atu, and as you mentioned his management team, incredible deal to lock in that sort of money long term at his age. Congratulations to him. from Manly's perspective, an 8-year deal, it's a long time for a bloke who, he hasn't played Origin football yet. He was close to it this year. He's been decent at international level, but, I don't know if he's got upside in him because he's a gun, but you look at other big long-term deals in Daly Cherry Evans, in Jason Taumalolo, they're genuine superstars of our game, and you pay them the long-term deal because you go, if we don't, someone else will. Because it's a longer deal, you generally get them on unders year on year because you give the player the security. And the Cows do that, Taumalolo, Manly with Daly Cherry Evans. Olakau'atu, it's a lot of money for a long time for not an unproven player, but, I don't put him in the echelon of superstars of our game. He has the potential to be, but will he get there? I don't know. I think 8 years is a very, very long time for Olakau'atu. Good luck to him, but I think it's too long.
I also do think it's worth noting that isn't confirmed, the $8 million. And also, it could be, because whenever you see a report, the idea is to get as many views as possible. So you're going to use the highest end number that is reasonable. So it might be $8 million if he does certain things, like if he plays Origin, if they play finals footy. There might be all clauses in his contract that basically say your base is 600K.
Yep.
We play finals footy, you get another 100K. You play Origin, you get another 100K. So just for listeners, if I had to bet, I don't think it's a straight out $1 million a season average. I think it would be required that certain things have to be fulfilled, because if you're Manly, you'd be insane to just give an 8-year deal to a forward without any kind of performance clauses that make sure that he is in. Because I said on the Packer Up Boys the other week, 8-year deal with that kind of money, you have to be in the top 3 or 4 players in your team every single week. And so the only way you guarantee that is by putting performance clauses in the contract. Hammy, what do you reckon of the deal, mate?
Big long deal, it is 2 whole Olympiads. By the time he finishes, Brisbane will be nearly hosting the Olympics, 2031.
And then he can maybe that's why it's 8 instead of 10.
Yeah.
Go to the Olympics or something.
Exactly, little code swap. Or rugby league in the Olympics, either or.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a long deal. I wonder as well whether they're maybe getting a little bit top heavy with back rowers on big money in their roster too. But, he's a hell of a player. He's a great player. I think Guru's point was spot on. If you don't offer him something like that, he's probably going to leave and go elsewhere. So maybe they're just sort of going all in, Manly, on we've got a squad here that maybe could give it a shake. Let's see if we can win something in the next couple of years, and then not worry too much about the.
Yeah, that's a good point in regards to, because they probably can't afford to pay him the big bucks now. They've gone, well, we see ourselves as a premiership window with Tom Trbojevic, so we need to keep him in the club, because that side without Olakau'atu, it's a bloody different side.
And I don't know the exact finances of the club, but you've got some how many years would Cherry Evans have on his? It was a 10-year deal, was it?
Yeah, about a 10-year deal.
10-year deal. So there's every chance that maybe he's got a back-ended deal where he's getting a mock.
Actually, sorry, I think he's re-signed on less. Yeah. I think he took a little bit from his long-term deal.
Yeah.
So I think actually he signed till 2025 and he took a little bit of a pay cut, to my understanding.
So maybe that is the scenario where, because as you said, sort of Kempy, maybe it's a back-ended deal because the cap they've got at the moment and their roster is so full up. In which case, the longer-term deal, that'd make more sense to me. Still don't agree with it, and I wouldn't have done it. And it's important to note, Olakau'atu, it's all about the length of the deal for me, and you blokes sort of alluded to it as well. If it was a 3-year deal on that, $1 million a year, I'd be going, it's pretty pointy end, but, you're paying for Bloke who, he could be a superstar of the game, but just the length of it is a key issue. The other one you brought up, Guru, is he's been playing outside one of the best sort of ball players over the last decade in Daly Cherry Evans, who's retiring the next couple of years. Is he going to be that good without DC? Maybe he's better, who knows, but...
It's they've made some big moves, Manly. Jeez Louise, they've made some big moves.
Yeah, and that's what I think is really interesting with Manly, that you've got a lot of guys that they've re-signed heading into the future, which I think a lot of them you are relying on potential rather than proven runs on the board, which is my big concern with Manly moving forward. If they fulfil that potential, though, you're flying all of a sudden.
Could be masterstroke.
100% it could be, yeah. But a lot of those guys don't have the runs on the board at the moment. And I think Olakau'atu at the moment is one of them.
You look at the money they've got now tied up in Schuster and Olakau'atu, long-term deals, big money with a lot of uncertainty around both of those players. Tommy Trbojevic, obviously massive money in him, who knows how many games he plays over the next 3 years. I said, could be a masterstroke and they could all kill it, and then it's a genius move by the club, but it could also go horribly wrong.
I think as well, doesn't it just show you the impact of that Schuster signing? Because I don't think they signed him on an 8-year deal if they didn't re-sign Schuster. I think the reason why he's on an 8-year deal is because they don't have that money anymore short term, because Schuster, the reports are it's around 700 to 800K. And as we all talk about, you can't have two back rows on 800K, especially when you've got Tom Trbojevic, Jake Trbojevic, DCE in the side. And so it seems like that has impacted the other edge back row they're planning to play. I still cannot believe the Schuster deal. It's still, to me, the most surprising deal that I've seen in a very, very long time. We've spoken about it so much about fulfilling potential, but isn't it surprising that you've got a guy like Schuster who unfortunately isn't fulfilling his potential yet, and then you just sign another guy hoping that he fulfills his potential? Me personally, I think it's a great deal for Olakau'atu, hopefully that Manly stay a finals footy side. I also think that we haven't seen anywhere close to where he can get as a player. I think that because he come across from basketball and he's still got some learning to do as a player, I think that his ceiling is quite high. I also think that, some people will try, I'm not saying you boys are, some people will try to put it in the same box as Schuster. I don't think it's anywhere near that. I think Schuster and Olakau'atu are totally different type of players in the way they've shown their commitment. Olakau'atu has been relatively consistent for a good 3 years now. Now, yes, has he had, 2 or 3 weeks where he's been quiet? For sure. But I've never watched a game and gone, geez, Olakau'atu is, not playing well at all. Definitely haven't watched multiple games. Whereas, unfortunately with Schuster, there's been games where I've been like, wow, it's just not working at the moment.
To put them both in the same box is wildly unfair.
Yeah.
I agree.
But I think there will be people that
will try to, for sure.
And I think that I understand everyone's misgivings of 8 years is long. I'm with you, but I'm a glass half full kind of guy that goes, you know what? Imagine if he fulfills his potential, and in 6 years' time, when the salary cap goes up again, so let's say the salary cap goes up another 25%, it'll be like he's on 500 grand.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's massive, massive value. So I've got faith that Olakau'atu will fulfill his potential. I think that he will be worth that money. I think that it's going to be a good deal because there's a lot I see in Olakau'atu's game that I think doesn't get appreciated. And I think it'll be a good deal. I really do. I can't see. Look, I'd be surprised if Olakau'atu got lazy. Now maybe injury might happen or whatever, but I'd be surprised if he was a player that just said, you know what, I'm on Bitcoin and I'm just going to phone it in this year.
I'm pretty sure from memory, he was one of the surprise selections in the RLPA Team of the Year, which was nominated by the players. I think he was back rower. So, in no shock to anyone, he's pretty fucking hard to handle.
Yeah.
And that was represented by his peers as well. So.
Yeah. And again, you go back and look at some of the plays he's had, big plays on a regular basis for that Manly side. I will say, though, that, the decisions being made now by the current, people that are making these decisions, geez, if they don't work out, the time it is going to take to fix them is going to be maybe 5 years. That's the risk.
Huge issues if it doesn't work out.
If it doesn't work out, you've locked yourself into, a lot.
Well, even if you just have a look at that Manly right edge heading into next year, if DCE, Olakau'atu, Kohler and Saab isn't one of the best right edges in rugby league with Turbo,
something's wrong.
What the fuck has happened?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, Olakau'atu, Kohler, Saab, and that is incredible.
It's potentially the fastest edge we've ever seen.
100%. I'm stoked for Olakau'atu, though. I think that, again, when Manly have struggled for a few years now, he's usually been one of their better players. There's probably only been one season where I reckon there's been 4 or 5 weeks where I've gone, he's been fairly quiet. Outside of that, even when they're getting pumped or beaten by a substantial margin, he's usually ripping and tearing.
Yeah.
Huge. What I will say, and I said on Friday as well, I do like Manly's actually trying something, though. They're taking risks. They're going, you know what, let's try and make some moves. Whereas I do feel like there are a few clubs that are playing it a little bit too safely and going, all right, well, we don't want to pay overs and we've got this system or that system. And it almost sets you up for middle of the table.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a make or break deal.
Well, you would also like to think, the Manly Seagulls are one of the few teams they're lucky enough to have a halfback in their side that's played 10 years of first grade. he stood next to a lot of back rubbers throughout his time. Like, you'd like to think that he would have got a stamp of approval from DCE
surely.
as well.
Surely. Another thing as well is like, let's say he doesn't play rep footy, and let's say, you know, the clauses in his contract don't activate, which I do think there'd be clauses in his contract. Then basically you've got this big, incredibly good back rower for like probably 500 or 600K, which is like incredible value. So interesting deal. It's a make or break deal. It's a bang or bust, because a deal like this as well, some people go, all right, well, the middle ground is if he plays solid. No, an 8-year deal, you can't just play solid, because now he's got a target on his back. Look at Fafita, for example. Played good footy, but because he was on $1.2 million, he was literally terrible. Like, people were calling him terrible. All of a sudden takes a pay cut, and yes, I do think he's played better footy, but I wouldn't say he's paid it hasn't been by that margin. Yeah. And all of a sudden, the target is off for Fafita's back. Now with the Olakau'atu, is that target on your back, because it's an 8-year deal, is going to be, you will need to be, I'll be conservative, top 5 players every single week with that 8-year deal, because people are just going to focus on you.
I'll tell you what, if at any point over the next 8 years we've got a tackle below the armpit, it might be the biggest bargain of all time.
I thought
I'm not sure if I can think of anyone that would be harder to handle like that.
Oh my God, we'll get into that, don't worry.
They won't be able to tackle him.
No.
Literally won't be able to tackle
put him down, I should say.
It'll be offload central. We'll get into it. But yeah, massive congratulations to Olakau'atu. And I think everyone here, we hope it works out. For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely hope it works out, because an Olakau'atu at his best is a highlight reels dream, like an absolute dream.
He's also tough too. Like, he's a good combo.
He is. And I don't think some of the tough stuff he does gets the appreciation it deserves.
A fully fit Tom Trebojevic, Schuster and Olakau'atu, Schuster hits his potential. Olakau'atu, so he doesn't have to do a heap more than he's doing now. He's a star of the game. They get Kohler roaming around the ruck, utilising him better next year. It has the makings of just such an exciting football team.
If Schuster hits his potential, Tommy stays injury free, like that's a premiership threat.
Yeah.
Like that's absolutely a premiership threat squad. So I really do hope that happens. Really do. Quick store shout outs. Harrigan's Cameron Park. These guys are flying through Bloke on tap. Beat the heat and knock back a few lagers. That's Harrigan's Cameron Park.
Bill Harrigan, any relation?
I think he might be loosely related. I'll reach out. Porter's Maroubra. You can't miss the Bloke lager poster at the entry. Swing by and say good day to Theo. Now, let's just talk about it, because we brought it up. Trying to get where the notes are. Okay, so in England, Professional Rugby League in Britain will lower the legal tackle height to below the armpit from 2025 as part of a sweeping number of recommendations approved by Rugby Football League. Rugby Football League, that's really strange. Rugby Football League.
Yeah, that's what they call their governing body over there, isn't it? RFL.
Rugby football, okay. Yeah. Okay. Designed to make the sport safer for its players and lower the risk of concussion. The main one is a tackling below the armpit. The other is a time restriction. Any forward over the age of 22 can only play 2,000 minutes in a 12-month period, while any back can only play only 2,400 minutes, the equivalent of 25 and 30 full games respectively. Only 25 games. Okay. There will be exemptions and dispensations weighted in, though. For example, if a player goes over that limit in a season, they will automatically be required to play less the following season. It will initially be rolled out at a community and amateur level for next season before it is also integrated into professional game at the beginning of 2025 season. Okay.
That all sounds pretty easy to keep tabs on.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. Absolutely. Won't be an absolute quagmire.
Sorry, mate.
Quagmire means what I thought it means, doesn't it? Quagmire?
I don't know.
Can you look up Quagmire?
It's a shit fight,
Yeah, shit fight. Anyway, listen.
Great character.
Yeah, great character. Tackle, the legal tackle height one, under the armpit. Look, I can see it working in union because it's literally, it's only 5. It's not even, basically, the line's right there. There's not a big run up. I just do not know how this works in league. It will be like touch footy. Below the armpit will just be constant offloading. And also, how do you police that in rugby league when you have to wrap the ball up? Are you allowed to wrap your hand over his shoulder? if he leans forward to bump, is that considered above the armpit if you hit across the sternum? It does. I do not know how this will be policed, and this genuinely will change the entire shape of the game because it'll be touch footy speed. It'll just be bump, offload, bump, offload, bump, offload constantly. I personally think, again, we always talk about it. I'm an ex-player. I came through a time when there was freaking no safety measures, so I am for player safety. But I say it like every single time we talk about this, so I apologise. At some point as a game, we have to accept there is going to be concussions. We are damaging our bodies. It is a dangerous game to play. Now, I get that the governing bodies are trying to protect themselves from being sued in the future. But even this is not going to stop concussions. So you are still going to open yourself up to being sued in the future. I think as a game, you look at MMA, for example, and I know it's a totally different setup. I understand that UFC's basically got a monopoly. I get all that. One of the fastest growing sports in the world, and the object, the actual way you finish most fights outside of submissions is to knock people out. And it's one of the fastest growing sports in the world. At some point, we have to accept that rugby league's not for everyone, that these people making these, recommendations, they are not, their interest is their job, and their job is safety. Rugby league, its interest is not safety. Its interest is entertainment. I just don't understand. I think it's going to be an absolute shit fight. Guru, what do you reckon, mate?
I completely agree with everything you said, mate. I think for referees, I don't know how on earth you could possibly police this in a game. And to be honest with you, I watched the video that the Rugby Football League put out the other day, and I was more confused coming out of it than I was coming into it. It was ridiculous. There was one tackle where they highlighted how it was a perfect tackle where two guys went low, the ball carrier had the ball free, and their heads met at the other side. I was just sitting there going, surely, from my experience, I would assume you have heaps more concussions from tackling.
Low.
Yeah. Right?
Try tackling Nelson Asafa-Solomona low. Or Taumalolo.
Yeah. It's
absolutely
wild.
oosed.
Yeah. And it was, there was ones that they highlighted in this thing that were, illegal tackles that, to me, they must have had weeks and months to set up this video, and it was still complete 50-50s to me.
I do not know how they're going to police it. And look, I am all for, if we want to make the game younger, from under 6s to under 15s, and we be really safe and we make sure. But I think that once you get to a consenting adult, or at least close to that, or 16, 17, we need to go, okay, these people are old enough to know the decisions they're making. And then we put in safety measures, but they're professional and they're consenting adults. Timmy, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I'm just picturing Brian Toto coming in to take a scoot out of his own end and ends up with Nelson Asafa-Solomona, and he's trying to, as he does, he burrows, he gets low and that, and Nelson trying to get underneath the armpits. It's nearly impossible. He'll nearly have to be on his knees to make that tackle and not give away a penalty. So, there's the first reactions to something that will change the game, but you did mention it a few times, but the policing of it is just going to be so hard, and the whole dynamic of rugby league and the sport is going to change if it's enforced as we're envisioning it to, where anything above the armpits is a penalty, because certain things are going to have to come into play, like there's going to have to be more reward for tackles around the legs and lower tackles, and dominant tackles are going to have to be called for legs tackles, because otherwise, as you said, it's just going to be offload, people bumping, dropping. It'll be played at light speed. So the game is going to change dramatically if it's enforced as we're envisioning it will. And as you said, boys, we understand where rugby league is coming from and thinking long term and thinking about lawsuits and all this stuff that's happening in the NFL. You're seeing bits and pieces of it in rugby league and other sports. It's a very dangerous road. I don't see how it'll work.
I just don't see how it's going to benefit the game. Okay, you have the safest game in the world. It's called touch footy. Eventually, because it's, as I said, let's say it reduces. Let's say they go, all right, we've done these studies. It reduces head knocks 10%. Or even, I'll be super, super generous, 20% reduction of head knocks. All right, what about the other 80% of head knocks? Where does it end? Because then it's okay, well, so we're okay. So we've reduced it by 20% because, they're not tackling. So we're okay with blokes knocking themselves out by going low, but we're not okay with blokes getting knocked out by getting, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, so that concussion is okay, but this concussion is not okay. Basically, if you're going down this route, your theory is concussion is not okay. So the end point of that theory is basically no contact. Because we reduce it by 20%, and those same people that it's safety, they're all right, well, what about the other friggin' 80% concussions? Now we need to get rid of them. The only way you're going to get rid of them is if it's a high contact sport, as in there's a lot of collisions. For the life of me, I don't see how this is going to help the game. And people go, oh, well, look at union. They've tried to do it. Well, yeah, look at the union in this country. And I know it's growing in Europe. Totally different game. League, when you're running, like, what are they going to change? They're going to go, all right, well, to make it even better, we're going to change the 10-metre rule. It's going to be a 5-metre game. It will just be the knock-on effect. In 30 years, we'll be looking at a totally different footy. Like, it'll be a different sport.
Could you imagine if we have this armpit rule in rugby league, could you imagine the press conference that NRL are going to have to do every Monday, going through the 30 penalties that were controversial, that they've slowed down in slow motion, paused it, watched it on different angles, and then they'll announce, and they'll throw them under the bus in a hup. Referees got this wrong. Like, it'll just create chaos. And once again, we'll have no referees.
Imagine trying to inspire the shit show that'll come out of this for referees. I feel so sorry for them already.
Brutal.
Trying to enforce it, and trying to inspire the next generation of referees, because they are going to cop a hiding.
And there's a lot of people out there go, I don't give a fuck, whatever. But if you don't have referees, you don't have a game. And you can walk around on a Sunday to junior rugby league everywhere. They're struggling for referees.
And at the same time, it's like, all right, you're always going to be able to throw enough money at some referees to get them to get the game. But, they're not a sport themselves, but you have grassroots referees. You develop them. You pick the best ones.
Yeah.
If it gets to the point where there's none come through the grassroots, there's not enough, or you end up with shit referees, the quality of the game comes worse. Like, you need to protect the referees as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And develop, grow them.
Yeah. And the idea of, we'll just throw enough money at a certain people, it's like, they need to love the game. Like, if you're a referee, you need to love the game. Like, refs love the game probably more than most people listening to this podcast.
100%. You need to love the game to overcome more bullshit than anyone.
Because your job, as we've said so many times, the better you are as a ref, the less noticed you are.
Yep.
So you're purely there for the love of what you're doing, because you're not getting any appreciation for it.
You also get paid miles less than the guys playing the sport, but you have to be perfect.
Yeah, you're not allowed to make an error.
You're not allowed to make errors.
But bloke on $1 million is allowed to make 2 or 3 errors in a game and miss a couple of tackles.
That's sweet.
I just think, where does it end, guys? Where do we go? People are going to get concussed. If you want to play rugby league professionally, most likely you're going to have some kind of brain damage. That's just the way it is. If you want to live your life wrapped in a little bubble, that's fine. Don't play rugby league.
Go play Aussie rules.
Yep.
Your sport.
Ooh, that's going to hurt some people. That's going to
Great sport.
It's still tough. Do they no, actually, they still get concussions too.
They still get them.
Go play touch footy. Seriously, touch footy.
I'm glad they're testing this in England and not here in our comp.
Holy.
I just wonder whether as well, the NRL might just sit back and go, all right, well, that's a bit of a live case study of like testing it out.
Yeah.
And if it turns into what we suspect it will be, just like a penalty party, maybe they go, all right, well, we're not going to go that extreme with whatever we do over here. So that's the one positive is we're not trialling it here.
Well, the thing that scares me is there's been multiple sports that have.
Yeah. Well, last week we talked about union. But hopefully not just yet.
I just can't see a world where it doesn't turn into a penalty party. How could that? How could it not play out that way?
Like, if you, for example, you do a scoot, you try and find your front, so you dip down. Who's going to tackle you? Because you're down like this. Who can tackle you?
When a winger's burrowing in a corner, or like a hooker scoots from dummy half on the line, like, every tackle's going to be above the. I don't know.
It has to be. Well, as I said, like, is it contact? So is it the first contact? Is it second contact? Like, if I, come over and my arm swings and hits over the shoulder, but I'm wrapping the ball up.
If you scoot from dummy half, you're going into them. Every tackle is technically going to be above the shoulders, because you're hitting them front on.
Yeah, I don't understand it. And how are you going to wrap the ball up? You're going to have to hit below the ball, because the ball, when you're running, the ball's there. They said below the armpit, correct?
Yeah.
So the ball, half the ball is above the armpit. So you would have to hit and then maybe somehow get your ball hand around it.
Like, if you're fair dinkum about doing this, you would almost have to just include a red line on every single jersey.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty
to be
much.
able to literally see it, or it's
Yeah.
all vibe. How else are you going to do it?
Yeah, it's a good call. You'd have to put something.
You're going to
across
have
there,
something there.
So true. That is so true. And then teams will be fucking gaming that because they'll put their jerseys, they'll pull them down
Then
tighter.
it'll be captain's challenges to watch to see if part of it,
yuck.
it'll be awful.
Yuck.
And you're right, you will have players it's a fucking free penalty. It's now a free penalty when you more than likely aren't going to hurt yourself.
Yeah, it's. I understand where they're coming from, but where does it end? Where does it end? So we're not okay if someone gets head high because of a shoulder to the head, but we are okay if someone goes low and gets concussed or puts his head on the wrong side, or so if there's a head. Anyway, I don't know how it works. In rugby union, I can kind of see it because it's such a different game without the 10-metre run-up, without the kind of offload to a degree. I know there still are offloads, but in league, it will literally just be... What we'll be seeing is every hit up, there'll be two dudes running beside the guy that's hitting up, and it'll just be boop, 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 go, boop, 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 go.
And the hard thing is that if you bring it in, it's not really something you can test because how are you going to pull back from it? How in a few years' time are you going to say, hey, so safety not that important now?
Yeah, I know.
We're going back.
The cat's out of the bag now.
Yeah. How are they possibly going to back down from this?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Anyway.
And a quagmire, for what it's worth, is an awkward, complex, or hazardous situation. And it gives the example here of a legal quagmire. So you were spot on.
Thank you.
with your use
Appreciate
there.
that. Appreciate that. I'm learned. We're
We're here to learn.
Yeah, we are.
So-
I'm cultured also.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, let us know what you think in the comment section, guys. Would love to hear from you guys. As I said, I think that we can all agree younger age groups, safety measures, even teach them to try to tackle a bit lower or techniques and how to wrap the ball up without tackling too high. But at some point, we have to decide, okay, they're this age. And what frustrates me is people that are, let's say you're pro this decision. They conflate, so you just want it to be a free-for-all. You just want, what frustrated me about the head high crackdown was a lot of people were talking like it was the Wild West before, where there were swinging arms and head highs every tackle and there was no penalties and people were just getting knocked out and we were all going, yeah, get bloke, get a head high has been penalised for friggin' 20 years, 30 years. So we're not sitting there going, let's make it the Wild West. To be honest, I think right now where league is at, where NRL is at, is we had that huge swing initially with the crackdown. Now we've swung back a bit to a more reasonable spot. I think we're in a pretty good spot. I know there's some that you go, what the hell? But overall, with what we're seeing around the world, I think the game's in a pretty good spot safety-wise.
Pretty good spot is the best it's going to get.
It's not going to get perfect. Always going to be dramas, but we get an extremely entertaining game that has heaps of safety precautions, making blokes come off, all that kind of stuff. Don't mix with the fabric of the game too much. Jeez. And what's tough to kind of, I guess, square away is, are we the old dinosaurs that are saying, the fabric of the game's being ruined? Are we them? Are we like the version of us 20 years ago saying, you're allowed to step on each other's hands and shit? And you know what I mean? Are we them now? I don't know. Maybe we are, but I just think the fabric of the game will change way too much if you're going below the sternum.
It's a different sport.
Mate.
It all of a sudden is a completely different sport.
Yeah.
You will, the amount of offloading and ball movement you'll almost be going back to fucking unlimited tackles.
It will seriously look like it because you'll just be, and also people don't realise NRL clubs will train for this too.
100% they will.
Right now, people have got natural talents that teach them to hit, spin, blah, blah. Imagine whole programs developed around hitting and spinning and offloading, and whole systems of attacking and stuff.
And this is, the beauty of NRL coaches and NRL systems, that no matter what the NRL puts in place, the people in those clubs are smarter. They'll work out a way around it.
Mate, imagine how many players are going to be running, bumping like that, just low as anything. Just go, boop, boop. Anyway. Okay, now, time for segment 3. Fisher Harris on NZ Rugby League. He was quoted on the Bloke in a Bar podcast. Go and listen. I can see where New Zealand Rugby League are coming from. This is in regards to Madge. That's how I was feeling as a player. Maybe he could have done both, but I didn't think it was fair to the players to coach Origin as well. Not a conflict, but you've got to watch the New Zealand players all year. What about our younger fellas coming through? He's got to watch Origin boys, then their youth too. I just couldn't see it. But I'm really happy for him. We had a call before he made the decision. I told him to go choose his dream, he wants that pressure. I was actually quite surprised at how candid Fisher Harris was about this quite a big topic in rugby league. But you know what? When he said it, I was like, you're actually probably right. You're actually probably right. I think what's thrown a spanner in the works is the whole New South Wales Rugby League throwing the part-time role there. I think that's kind of like tainted our mindset of what the job entails. But after he said that, especially as the captain of the team, I'm like, he's right. Like if you are head coach of New Zealand Rugby League, it's not just the games at the end of the year. It's the whole development of New Zealand Rugby League. It's not, and I think it's the same for Origin. And so initially I believed that he could do both. But after hearing him say that, I was wrong. I think actually he's right. He probably couldn't do both. What do you reckon, boys?
Sounds like Fisher's looking for a new head honcho of the could be anything department for New Zealand Rugby League. So I'm here. It's hard to push back on. Isn't this whole situation just? I can't believe how long this is all dragged on.
Strange, eh?
It's insane. It's such a unique situation how it's played out, and at the end of the day, all because they whacked Australia in that grand final.
Yeah. Yeah, if he doesn't do that, it's like
it's completely different.
Yeah,
the narrative is flipped in an instant. I watched that interview with Fish. I just love everything about him.
I know.
Fuck, he's a good leader.
Fucking oath.
Like we've spoken very highly of him this year, and comparing him to previous front rowers and whatnot, and people get weirdly emotional about it. But the more I see, and he doesn't say much, but the things I do hear him say, I am blown away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it almost cements after sitting down and just hearing his mindset, and then you square it up to what he's achieved. You go, oh no, he is one of the greatest front rowers of all time.
I think he is. He's how old is he?
27.
Sweet. He's on hole 10.
Yeah, it's insane. And the same with Lyotta. Like, I think that Lyotta is so underrated, like so underappreciated. You go back and watch every grand final. Lyotta is amazing in every single grand final.
And I love that they came in here together.
Yeah, the Bash Bros. Give them a follow.
That just says something, doesn't it?
At Bash Bros on Instagram. It just shows you like they are so committed to their front row pairing. What it reminds you of, the old school front rowers, that it wasn't about themselves individually. It was about we are a front row pairing and our job is to dominate the other pairing. It wasn't I'm the front rower and I'm the man. Like it was about dominating the other forward pack. Timmy, what do you reckon, mate? What'd you make of his comments?
Yeah, you sort of I have a new opinion around like Madge and could he have done both every day? Like you hear different opinions from informed people, and it's look, I'm still in the camp that he could have done both, but again, you listen to what JFH has said, and he makes good points. And I think on the surface level, particularly the quote that stands out is like you've got to watch the New Zealand players all year, but what about the younger fellas coming through? I think in terms of like Blues selection and the Kiwi selection. You're watching, Madge will be watching just about every game a week, so he'll be watching Matt Tomoko play for the Raiders, and he'll also be watching Hudson Young, players that may or may not be in their national and state teams when the push comes to shove, and all the other young players coming through. So I think it's fine, and at that level, he can cover both. But you're right, he's right, I should say, in that you really do want your national coach and your state coach looking after but keeping an eye on the 17s and the 15s and being active in their training camps and helping out. Like, and again, that's where it becomes an issue with it being a part-time role.
Yeah.
Like, you'd prefer it to be a full-time role. And say, no, mate, we want you doing everything for New South Wales Rugby League or everything for New Zealand Rugby League where you help out from the bottom up. Whether that's too big a job, I don't know, but I do understand where Fish is coming from.
That's what got me across the line. Like, when you think about it, you're like, Madge should be at every under 15s New Zealand camp. He should be every under 16s, 17s, 18s, 20s. He should be like implementing systems at these. And then you go, okay, he should be also doing that for New South Wales Rugby League.
Keyword systems and like what Melbourne are famous for from their juniors all the way through, whether it's their Q Cup team, whether it's whatever level, Jersey Flag. They've always just had the same systems and they're all in place so well, so that if a player gets called up, drops out, whatever, they know their role, they know how to play the position and what is required of them. And you'd hope that at a New Zealand level, and same as the New South Wales Blues level, that saying that you put these systems in place from bottom up.
Look at Penrith.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
They're reaping the rewards of 5 years ago, or maybe even longer, locking in systems from all the way through. So anyone that comes in now, it's almost like You don't even see the play; you just see the jersey. Oh yeah, they'll be sweet.
And thinking of it from that perspective makes it even weirder that it's not a full-time role for the Blues.
I think that's what's like.
Yeah.
That's what's flavoured this whole conversation is this. I think strange offer of 5 months a year from the Blues. If it was a 12-month, a full-time contract, I don't think any of us would be sitting here saying, "Oh yeah, he could do both." Because you'd be like, "What do you mean? He's got a full-time. He's got a gig with New Zealand."
And Madge is going like, "I'm only getting 5 months from the Blues. Like, I
Yeah.
work year round and that. Not that he's going to be short on work. Like, he's doing stuff with the Raiders, but he's going, I've got time to do both.
Yeah, yeah,
I've
because
only
he's got a
part-time
5
contract.
Yeah,
I get paid for 5 months by the Blues.
yeah, and I think you do have to consider you've got a 15-year-old gun, and Madge, he's a New South Welshman, but he's also eligible for the New Zealand Kiwis.
Yep.
You have to ask the question of, is he in the right frame of mind to make the fairest decision for both sides?
Yeah, and that, with the changing landscape of rugby league, I mean, the reality is we've got one team in New Zealand. We've got another 16 in Australia. A lot of young kids that get signed up end up over here at a very young age, and they've got to make that decision. Who do they want to play for? And it's just perspective I haven't really thought about. But if I'm Fish, I want a committed New Zealand coach to be having those conversations
For New Zealand, like
for
purely,
New Zealand.
yeah,
100%.
Like, bias. You want your coaches biased, like all in New Zealand's camp.
And let's take the example of Mulatalo. Let's put the shoe on the other foot. If he was a New South Welshman and Madge is the coach of both,
Yeah,
how does that go down?
yeah.
Yeah, especially off the back of the success of the Warriors this year and New Zealand Rugby League, their test side. They had so much success and the support from the nation was just overwhelming in a Rugby Union World Cup year. We've got to capitalise on it, don't we? And I know it's only one small thing, but let's just go all in on that country because it's such a big part of the game already, but what it could be.
And I think as well, if you're Fish Harris, because in the interview he said that he actually went to Madge and said, "I'm ready for captaincy when you want me." And I was like, when he said that, I was like, "Bro, you are a motherfucker." Like just that the leadership to go to Madge when Jesse Bromwich was captain, and he understood Bromwich was captain, so he was like, Bromwich is a legend, but when you need me, I'm ready to go. Gets the captaincy. So from Fisher Harris' perspective, as a leader of the current New Zealand side, you want a partner in your head coach that is also all in about developing the next generation of, because that's what Harris wants to do. He wants to leave a legacy. He doesn't want to just come in, win a few games and bounce. He wants to literally leave a legacy in New Zealand Rugby League.
Isn't that wild from Fish that he's at a club that's got co-captains and he's not one of them?
Yeah.
Yet unbelievable.
Crazy. So yeah, like hearing that, it really did make me, and it was what I alluded to initially when it happened. I said, as an Australian, maybe would I be okay with a coach from another country? You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not seeing it from a Kiwis perspective. And hearing it from a Kiwis perspective, did open my eyes up and go, you know what, he's probably right. Like I didn't really, maybe I'm being a bit selfish because New South Wales is obviously Australian, blah, blah, blah. So what do you reckon?
Yeah, well, I think he summed it up pretty well. Like you can't really half-ass the keeping an eye on all the juniors coming through, and you guys have touched on that pretty well. I just wonder as well if the shoe was on the other foot and if he was the full-time New South Wales coach first and then took on the New Zealand role, how would New South Wales and all their greats, can you imagine the media and all the comments about that? Like,
it's a great point.
They'd be going, what are you doing? You're either doing this full time or you're not doing the job properly.
Yeah.
You're going to potentially cost us winning more stuff. So, I think he articulated it pretty well. And I think it probably, maybe he could have done both, but I think it's probably fair enough.
It's a great point. As Blues fans, New South Welshmen, you would not be cool if he was like, "Oh, I'm the full-time New South Wales coach, but I'm going to go and do New Zealand rugby part-time." You'd be like, hang on a sec, you need to be committed to us.
Fair.
Unfair?
Yeah.
Fair.
I'd be happy for Slater to do it.
And I guess that's my point in regards to, as Aussies, maybe we didn't see that perspective because we're not in their shoes.
Yeah.
But anyway, great interview. Check it out on Bloke in a Bar.
I was just thinking then, won't it be crazy like Fisher Harris coaching New Zealand? Is Nath Cleary the next captain of Australia, do we think?
Sure, surely.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
what a
Penrith's
clash.
going to have captain of Australia and New Zealand in their side.
That's
It's unbelievable.
crazy. Yeah, so good. It's like a Storm situation.
Yeah.
Cam Smith, Jesse Bromwich.
Yep. Crazy.
All right, now it's time for Mark Nawaqanitawase.
Yep.
Because he has come across to league in 2025. He has been signed by the Roosters. Have you boys had a chance to look at his highlights or anything like that?
Yep.
Was he your CBA a few months ago?
No, I hadn't really seen too much of him before I watched his highlights.
One slip through the cracks, eh? He's slipping. He's slipping. Hey, Bloke's getting bigger and he's losing. You know what? He's losing the hard edge that brought him into the Bloke family in the first place.
Not watching enough basketball with Buller. Now this.
It's unbelievable.
People
Didn't
talking.
really know who Mr. Whippy was.
Didn't know who Mr. Whippy
You
was.
knew who Mr. Whippy was.
Absolutely.
Hey, maybe we need to do a season review for the Root.
The feet are up.
Maybe there's going to be there's a club review at the end of the year, and the Roo has to be asked if he's actually watching the games. But he says he's watching.
Maybe Mark's got to take the hint.
Oh, wow. Anyway, all jokes aside, he's coming across the league. I've seen highlights in that of him. Definitely athletic, super athletic, explosive, good footwork. Looks to be, again, this is a pure guess, just looking at him, maybe 6'2", 6'3", if I'm being generous. But let's just say 6'2" to be conservative. Probably be a winger, but definitely has the physical side of it. The physicality to play NRL. It'll just be a matter of can he pick the game up. But he has been quoted, "I'm not doing this code change in any way to have a crack at rugby. I love the sport and it's got me this position in life. To see some of the stuff that's being said is actually quite laughable. I'm not some part of a code where I'm just doing what is right for me right now, and the opportunity at this young age to play for a club like the Roosters is something that I could not knock back." I will say, he's not a part of it, as in he is not intentionally a part of it, but you are a part of it. You may not have made the decision to have a crack. Clearly you haven't made a decision to crack anyone, and you are clearly making a decision because you want to play rugby league and still loving union, but the Roosters and the NRL are happy that this has happened, and the union are not happy that this has happened. Just like we have not been happy with them, smashing us so many times and taking our bit. I mean, was anyone happy we lost Suaalii? Absolutely not. He's a superstar. Thoughts on the coming across?
I think especially with a home World Cup upcoming, though, it says something for sure. And I know that's not Mark's intention, but it yells something, realistically. Just from watching his highlights, I was very impressed. And look, I'm just talking about the attacking side of things. I know there'll be comments jumping down our throat about defence, and we'll have to see how he goes in that regard, but apply some common sense. Attacking-wise, though, I love what I saw. I think he looks very talented, very strong in contact. His balance is unreal. Very good offload ability.
Decent on the high ball. I know it's different, but he did catch a few high balls and that, like jumping in the air, not just standing there.
I actually think with a bit of time, I think he'll be more of a centre than a winger. Yeah.
You reckon like a big, strong centre that kind of...
Because
he's quite big.
He's big, and his offload ability and his awareness was sort of what really stood out to me. His timing of how he was doing things. He's sort of, and it's probably a poor comparison, but when I was watching him, remember those one or two periods where those 1 or 2 years where Brad Takarangi in contact was just able to come up with these ridiculous offloads all the time. Sort of gave me those sort of vibes at times, but he looks like a much more complete footballer to me.
Well, I think Takarangi obviously being more of a half, whereas Nawaqanitawase is, I think, an out-and-out outside back.
Yeah.
I think he's an out-and-out outside back.
But just the way that they produce.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It almost looks like he's holding a smaller football than everyone else. Sort of
you can see the similarities in contact for sure. Timmy, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously probably not intent of him around the code war and that, but it's a big blow for Australian rugby. If the Wallabies had just made a World Cup final and the Super Rugby clubs were thriving, the Australian rugby clubs, I should say, would he be coming over? Not a chance. If it wasn't in the state that it was in. So, after rugby league losing Suaalii, it's one back for rugby league, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
Huge blow for the Wallabies and Australian rugby losing one of their brightest talents. So I'm excited to see him come over here. As you said, athletically he looks outstanding. Whether he can adapt to the game and defend, he'll be fine in attack. Whether or not defensively he's got that in him, time will tell. It'll
just be the only thing in attack that I think I'm still unsure. It's just that if he does end up a winger, it's so expected now that you need to make 20 hit-ups and make 150. Put it this way. If you're not nearly around 180 to 200 metres mark in today's version of... And Penrith have changed the game with this where game plans are based around the outside backs getting out of your own end. It's almost like unless you're an incredible winger that can finish and can have line breaks every now and then, you're almost not in close to the top tier if you're not doing 180 metres a week.
Yeah.
Especially-
No, you go.
I'll say the blokes he'll be replacing, Daniel Tupu, Suoliti, both known as being big metre eating wingers. That's the role he's coming into.
Yeah.
And you have a look at the role that, Will Warbrick's played down there at Melbourne Storm. Like, I think, people that aren't as in deep as footy as we are, like, he played reserve grade for 18 months before he got his shot. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Roosters take a similar path, but I think he might be a bit more of a natural. I reckon he'll come on a little bit quicker.
Yeah, because it's hard to say because the Wallabies are so much not as good as All Blacks. I will say, even Warbrick, remember the first few games? We were like, ooh, that defence is not great. Now, by the end of the season, what's crazy with Warbrick is the brick's just getting started, baby. The brick's he's all bricked up. What? Isn't that
Well summed up.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. No, I thought that was the headline.
Bricked up.
Storm fans bricked up.
Yeah. Can't fault that. It's got my attention. Where do I read the rest of the article? Done his job.
Yeah, so I think that in attack, the only thing is it's that repeat high contact. There is contact in Union for sure. It's a super physical game. There's no denying that. But your outside backs aren't coming in and having to run straight at the front rowers, 20 times a game. We all make jokes about wingers, but the wingers in today's game are that tough. Maybe the last, probably just modern era. If you're not taking the scoots out of your own end, what are you doing?
Yeah. And, it's funny, even, it's been a bit of a joke the last few weeks, but when we've been doing this NRL grid, and you're going back and you're typing in wingers from 10, 15 years ago, and I'm always thinking, comparing them to nowadays, it's completely different.
The game has changed.
The game has changed so much.
When you're jammed in your corner, they've kicked downfield, you're turning around. The first run has been just dominated by the defence. It's a slow play of the ball, and you've got 10 blokes itching at the bit to get up and flog you, and you're a 90-kilo winger. It's the worst carry in the game.
Yeah, it's literally the worst carry in the game. And it's the idea that as you said, they are itching to get a shot on a winger, going, oh, this is the best. And so I guess that will be the question in attack. And yeah, defensively, all the obvious questions are, can he get the reads right, blah, blah, blah. But I'm excited for him. I think that, reportedly on around 400, I think it'd probably be a little bit less than that. Even at 500 maybe a year. I think it's probably a little bit less than that. I'd be surprised if they were going to bring over an untested outside back on 400k a year. But in saying that, the salary cap's gone up, so maybe that's equivalent to 350 or 4. But yeah, I can't wait to see how he goes. He's still got another year in Union. But so Roosters have said it'd be too complicated to get him over now. I think also, if you're going for premierships, you keep Suoliti in the side. That's insanity if you were going to get rid of... people are forgetting how good Suoliti is. Just because he was a little bit quiet at centre for a while, it's like, mate, do you not realise what the year he had when he was 18 years old? What are we talking about here? What do you reckon?
Well, I believe actually, much like Guru, Nawaqanitawase grew up as a big Roosters fan. I've got one of my mates on Instagram, I believe, was mates with him when he was a bit younger, and he put some photos up the other day. He's like, we always knew this was going to happen, good on ya. And he's head to toe in Roosters stuff. It looks like kind of underage, training stuff. I don't know if you played with one of those squads at some point or was just a big Chooks fan. But either way, I think this has been something that he's wanted to do, it looks like, for quite a while. So good to see someone coming across and playing for a club that they grew up supporting and all that sort of thing. So
it's a bigger call than people realise in regards to his career, because he could go to Europe and earn fucking heaps.
Yeah.
Yep.
Big call.
It's a huge call. Now he's 23, I think. It's only a 2-year deal. So by the time it finishes, he'll be about 26, 27. Can still do that. But I do say, I do feel that the day and age of NRL being so far behind when it comes to what you can earn, it's kind of over. We have $1 million players in our game now. As a winger, if he kills it, he can earn $600,000-700 grand. How much more is he going to get paid unless you're maybe Semi Radradra? How much more are you going to get paid over in Europe? Probably the same. Yeah. To be a gun winger, I'd assume. I'd put it this way: I don't think Union over in Europe wingers are getting $2 million a year in that. Now, could be wrong, but I doubt it.
Yeah. But on top of that, he gets to live in eastern suburbs of Sydney and whatnot. He's not in a bad spot.
Yeah, it's not a bad spot to be in. Not a bad spot to be in.
If he doesn't play first grade in his first year, Kemp, he could be your first Bloke FC member from reserve grade.
Oh, you reckon?
I reckon he's
Is that you
we were
putting it
talking
forward?
about him yesterday. We were looking over Bondi Beach having a beer, saying how tough it'd be for him.
It's a tough squad, mate.
Yeah.
It's a big call. What do you reckon,
He's
Hammy?
got to look out for the people who are pouring their beers back in the jug. You can dodge those and stay out of their way. Fill your boots down
Not
there.
someone you want to mess with.
He's clearly, he's a psycho.
Yeah.
He's a psycho. Just don't want to have beers with him. Speaking of Union, huge news overnight. Like, this was breaking news.
Who saw this coming?
Mate, this came out of left field for me. Eddie Jones is set to be reappointed as head coach of Japan,
What?
pending approval from Union's board. I know. Yeah, it's unbelievable. You know what? I'm stoked for him. Like, he had such a hard run here at the Wallabies, and you never thought like he would just land on his feet so quickly. Like, who would have thought?
And in Japan, of all places.
Because he was so committed to us, and then all of a sudden, he's got a gig already, mate. I mean, props to his management, because they must have got that deal done real short in a real short period.
Am I being punked with all these cameras here? Is it Japan? Unbelievable.
Oh my God. So he denied links to the role at least a dozen times. It's less than 2 months since he walked out on the Wallabies. So in about 7 weeks, he's managed to land a head coach of Japan role. It's disgraceful, like actually disgraceful the way this has all been handled. I just can't believe it. Like, the brazen nature of a bloke that 6 months ago, a year ago, was quite loved by the Australian public. Quite, we all were stoked that he was a part of it. Has just gone big middle finger to the whole country. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Guru, what do you reckon, mate?
Must have been a nice holiday over there.
Yeah.
I'm worried Matty's going to return from Bali as the head coach for the
India.
Uluwatu
Balinese
Raiders.
side. Mate, this is almost at the point where I'm just like, I don't fucking care anymore. Honestly, like we've said, I think everything we can say about this. I think everyone shares the same opinion. I haven't heard anyone push back on.
There's been some people I've seen being like, it was the Wallabies' fault. It's Rugby Union Australia's fault.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, bro.
There's a way to go about this as an individual.
Yeah.
And he hasn't gone about it the right way.
Timmy, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, Eddie Jones really gives me vibes like that kind of bloke who'd pour beer back in the jug. Yeah.
I don't think he's a complete psychopath.
Come on, mate. Bit far there, mate.
Rank form from Eddie, and I'm excited not to see his name in the paper for a while.
Hammy?
It's been interesting to see. I mean, we haven't really hosted Japan out here to play a game, have we? But like, imagine the reception. Eddie, out here coaching against the Wallabies. Maybe that'd be good. Maybe it'd be good for interest.
It's good for, if you're Australia, you want that.
Yeah.
Because everyone will be tuning in.
Exactly. It's just, I mean, you guys have said it all. It's just a joke. Like, I can't believe the day before the World Cup, he's chatting to him allegedly.
Yeah.
He goes, I never spoke to him. Fast forward 2 months and he's
Not even.
confirmed.
Bloody, not even. Not even 2 months out of the... Like, does the Australian head coach role mean nothing to you?
Yeah,
like,
ridiculous.
It's our country. You are representing everything that's happened before. Craziness. Anyway, I just thought I'd let everyone know, because I'm sure people are surprised by that breaking news.
Yep.
Eddie
Did not
Jones
see it coming.
Okay, Kurt Capewell signs immediately with the Warriors, released from the Broncos. Spoke a little bit about this on Packer Up Boys, but although I understand everyone's situation, he gets that long-term deal, Broncos have these young guys coming through, it's not a foregone conclusion that the Broncos aren't going to miss him. I think that we need to keep that in perspective. I think that also, that doesn't mean that Piakora and Ricky can't have incredible years and kill it. But this idea that, we've just got these two young guns and they're just going to kill it, it's not a sure thing. Like, experience matters, locker room guys matter, and the fact that Capewell came to the club with Renault and has got us to a grand final, that means something. So, although I understand the decision and I agree with it, if that was if it was us or them kind of thing, I still think that the Broncos have lost quite a few players now, and that's a little bit worrying.
I think it's definitely worrying, yeah. Experience does matter. And, I remember at the start of this preseason, we spoke a lot about who we thought was going to make the 8, who was going to miss the 8. We spoke about that there's always a few teams that jump up out of nowhere, and then quite often they fall back down.
Yeah.
I don't think that will happen with Brisbane, but you're in a very delicate spot where are you coming back from the most heartbreaking grand final loss of all fucking time?
With a young squad.
You're in a very, very delicate spot, and to let an experienced guy like him go, and you've got to make tough decisions like this. I've mentioned a number of times, Penrith Panthers made a tough decision like this years ago.
We all agree if the decision was keeping Piacora and Ricky and Capewell had to leave, we all probably would have made that decision.
Probably would have, yeah. I would have rather make it in 12 months,
For sure,
ideally.
for sure.
And that's the only thing that worries me. Like, I don't think they've made the wrong decision, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out.
What do you reckon, Timmy?
Yeah, big decision to cut him straight away, isn't it?
Well, I personally think that they had cap pressure this year.
Yeah, okay.
I reckon. Because otherher's, why would you?
And even from a Warriors perspective, they want him and need him this year coming. That experience come in. Like, by the time 2025 rolls around, he'll be, I think, 32 or thereabouts. So he's getting on in his career. He's had a few injury problems. So he'll still have plenty to offer on field this year. But yeah, the Broncos, big decision from them. Probably frees up a bit of cap space. I like the aggressive nature of it, especially if it has freed up some space and allowed them to re-sign certain players. We've spoken about Piacura in depth this season, but massive fan of what he's doing, and I can't wait for this season as a result. But yeah, and the experience going into that Warriors outfit will be invaluable.
Yeah, massive get for the Warriors. Because, look, if the Broncos have just been, really good about it and said, listen, this deal is a great deal for you, even though we'd love to keep you, we're doing what's best for you, then I think that's very honourable. But I just don't, clubs don't do that. Not premiership winning clubs. Like, you wouldn't see the Panthers doing that.
Yeah.
So I think that probably there was a bit of cap pressure. They probably said to Capewell, if you can get a deal, look for it. Capewell probably was disappointed with it. Again, this is all just assumption, guys. Capewell was probably really disappointed when he heard that, but then went and got the deal, and then it kind of all happened. But look, I cannot wait to see Pierre. Like, basically, he's got that spot now.
Yeah.
Week in, week out, another whole preseason on his belt. Ricky, now, things are moving quickly for Ricky. He had a really good year, but now, mate, you're the leader on the edge. So that's even more pressure. You're no longer the young kid that has got time to develop. You are the guy now. You are the guy.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster for Ricky, hasn't it? And like, even from my perspective, like I sort of thought a year ago, I wasn't sure if he was mature enough week in, week out to be an 80-minute back rower in the NRL. He turned me around very quickly last year.
Yeah. Kempy, Pica starting, Capewell gone, round one Supercoach bye. We'll put him in our teams, or too soon?
Mate, don't get caught up in the hype, seriously. you Supercoach blokes don't know how to hold your bloody nerve. Everyone's going to be jumping on Piacora. I'll give you my smokies when we get close to the year. What do you reckon, Hammy?
Great get for the Warriors. I think he's massively underrated, just sort of flown under the radar a little bit the last few years. Obviously, a few injuries, but great player. Good for the Warriors. They can get him right away. So they'll have a year of him and AFB together next year. Signing
as an edge or a middle, do we think, in that they'll have Niokora there?
No, I think they'll move Niokora in the middle.
Capewell slots in on the edge.
Yeah, and I think it'll be Ford because they re-signed Ford and Capewell on the edges.
Lost Karen.
Because Niokora seems like a bigger body than Capewell.
Yeah.
He's a big boy.
Yep.
I reckon they put him in the middle, maybe even try and turn him into a front rower. I wouldn't mind seeing Niokora because he played a little bit of at the Eels. I know he played
well
centre.
Surely do it. Yeah.
But he's big enough.
Yeah.
Explosive enough. But
I like
great
it.
get for the Warriors. I mean, the Warriors, they've only gotten better. They haven't lost anyone, and they've got more people in. So they actually should go better next year.
And can kick field goals too. So you can never have too many of those.
True. Very true. Very true.
Yep.
Reports that Storm have signed Shawn Blore for 25, but could join. Jesus Christ. Have some professionalism.
What a lump of coal in my sack for Christmas. Seriously.
Reports that Storm signed Shawn Blore for 25, but could join with an early release. I absolutely love this signing, and sorry, Hammy, but I want him down there tomorrow.
Yeah.
I want him down there tomorrow.
We've been waiting for this. I'm going to pretend Hammy isn't here, but we've been waiting for this for a while.
Yeah.
And for him to land at Melbourne is super exciting. A team that I think are lacking just dominant forwards.
Punch.
Yeah. And this guy, I think because of injury and, time at the Tigers, people haven't probably realised just how good Shawn Blore is. But coming through, he was an absolute weapon.
Yeah.
Mark might have missed the CBA list, but he was always front and centre of it. So I can't wait to see what Bellamy does with him. And this is the first time in a while that Melbourne have signed a guy like this that I've been this excited about.
I am super excited because he he plays a style of rugby league that makes him a fan favourite.
Yep.
Like if he can play consistent first grade in that Storm system, he'll be one of the most loved players because he's fireworks. All you have to do is go back to his debut. Comes on the field against the Eels. At this stage, Nathan Brown, he's the big bad bully, hyper aggressive. Blore in his debut, so would have been 19, 20 years old, went toe-to-toe with Brown. And not just like toe-to-toe, like had like, the little tackles here and there. No, literally run it straight, let's fucking go. Multiple times. And I have to say, Blore won the battle. Now, Brown's obviously had a better career, but that's the kind of player he is, that he goes toe-to-toe with the opposing forward pack. He's explosive. There's fireworks. I cannot wait to see him at the Storm. Timmy?
Finally, like Guru sort of touched on it, but superstar through the lower grades and just injury more than anything. It's just stunted his early development at NRL level. But it just reeks of a Storm signing where he's going to come in, they'll get the best out of him, out of that toxic environment the Tigers having. And
Uncalled for.
it's really exciting. And
Is there any HR forms I can fill out?
the hype and like the raps that have been on Blore, and we saw him string together 15 games this season, but out of the club and footy circles, everyone thinks he's just a budding superstar in the game.
Yep.
Superstar's probably a bit harsh, but star of the game, and we might hopefully be able to see it at the Storm.
Well, his trajectory was Origin.
Yep.
Coming through the grades was eventually he'll play Origin. Now, he still may get there.
Well, I think, wasn't he like captain of the New South Wales sides and stuff, Matty? Yeah, juniors coming through, yeah.
What do you reckon?
I can't help but notice that you've taken your beard off, and I don't blame you because I'm a little hot under the collar with this one as well. I think the fairest way to go about this would be a player swap. So we'll take Cam Munster, 2025. Don't forget Benji Marshall won Celebrity Apprentice, so he can get these deals done. So watch this space, Munster the Tigers, and I think that would be a fair trade.
You reckon it's a fair
I think
trade?
that would be a fair trade. Anything less, unfair. Again, we don't need him anyway. We've got Gordon Whippy coming in, so we are good to go in the forwards department. But the headline is Munster to the Tigers.
That's the headline. 2024, eh?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if that somehow come off? Only the Tigers could pull that off. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Now, Ben Hunt confirms he will be at the Dragons next year. He said, I'm definitely committed for next year and want to win a premiership.
Win a premiership? Jeez.
Hey, man. Wow, coming from a Tigers fan.
Yep. HIA for Ben, I think, before Christmas.
Oh, wow. Jeez Louise. Stick the boot in.
Yeah.
Poor Benny.
Come to the Tigers if you want to win a premiership. We're building nicely. Munster. Blore, we're trimming the fat. Blore's out of there. Whippy coming through. All aboard.
Look, it's good that this is public. It's good that, at least internally you can, and this may be the case, but you can sell it as Flanagan has convinced him, he's on board, he's ready to go. Because if he is not convinced by Flano, then it's just pointless. Like it's absolutely pointless. So good to hear. He said for next year. He didn't say till the year after, which you can always look at that. But it's good to hear for Dragons fans.
It is good to hear, but without sounding like an arsehole, doesn't it just show the situation there is that we're saying? How good is it that the captain wants to play there and he wants to win a comp next year?
I know, it's a disaster.
It's fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice little PR spin. Like, you'd be few red flags if he came out and said, no, I still don't want to be here. Like, that'd be a real issue. So, it's good that he wants to be there, but we'll see.
I'd love to know the last time it was news that a club captain said, I want to play for the club next year and be successful.
Mate, I can't believe they forced him to stay. And look, take away the ethical, moral, blah, blah, blah. He signed a contract. Take that all away. Just as a club. It's like your missus going, look, I don't want to be with you. And you're going, yeah, well, you are.
You're in.
Wow.
You're in this fucking relationship, baby. Forever.
Contract.
Yeah, you signed a contract. See this marriage contract we both agreed to? Very strange, very strange. But I do hope the Dragons go well because it's been a tough few years. Jack Bird says his preference is to play centre for the Dragons. He was quoted saying he played his best footy for Flano at centre. Could be the writing be on the wall. Lomax to fullback, Moses Sully and Bird in the centres, do you think?
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see Lomax given a crack at fullback. I remember a couple of pre-seasons ago, it was the talk of the town for 6 months, and then I think he lasted 2 weeks. They hooked him out of there and didn't put him back there, which I thought was bizarre. I think Lomax, it's worth a crack. You've obviously got Sloan there, who's been building the last couple of years, but I don't think he's taken his opportunities. I'd be giving Lomax a crack and putting Jack Bird in there.
Yeah, and with Sloan, like, mate, show us how much you want it on the wing.
Yep.
You know, you're on the wing. Take 20 carries. We know you're incredible in attack. We all agree he's a great kid. He definitely seems like a great kid that we all want to succeed. But unfortunately, you haven't earned that fullback jersey.
Yep.
Go and earn it on the wing, because that's what Wayne used to do with young players coming through. Very rarely would he debut them at fullback. He would usually stick them on the wing, just to say, like, you know, look at Darius, played on the wing for years before he moved to fullback. It's just all about earning that key position.
He debuted some of them at fullback.
Well, he did debut some of them at fullback. Funnily enough.
I was talking about Lockie, but good on you, mate.
Guru goes whack.
It's going to be a busy day for the Bloke HR department over the Christmas period.
Oh, my God. That is unbelievable from you, Guru. All right. Yeah, I think Lomax at fullback. I think Sloan on the wing, mate. Just get the tough carries in you. And then if he kills it, you put him back at fullback.
Christ, I just want to see Jack Bird play 20 games.
Yeah, I know. I love him as a player. Yeah. Like, I absolutely love him as a player. And even through all this time, when he has played, he's usually one of their better players. Yep. Like, very rarely is he not. What are you laughing at, Timmy? You're laughing at Roo fucking having a shot.
Guru just wanted to see Birdie play 20 games. Played 23 in 2022 and 22 in 2021. I wasn't going to say it, but you called me out, so I had to.
Did he really?
Yeah, it surprised me as well.
Shout out to you, Birdie.
For what it's worth, I didn't think he had either.
You know what it is? It's because he changes position all the time. It's sometimes off the bench, sometimes he's
How many did he play this year?
14.
Yeah, right.
Oh, so he played 14 this year?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's fair.
I thought so, but
Yeah.
you know.
Wow. So Timmy's nitpicking for 22. Holy shit. What is going on with the panel today? We all hate each other today. Where's the love, baby? You guys getting the beers last night and punch on?
I think it's the hats. It's very hot in here.
Holy shit.
How many beers did Jack Bird pour back in the jug in 2023?
Four, and no one said a thing to him.
Okay. A bit of boxing, quickly. Haney defeats Progress. I hope I'm saying that right. Progress. 120 to 107 on all cards in just an absolute shutout. Haney we are witnessing, I think personally, we're witnessing a future Hall of Famer. He is so special. And I know there's going to be boxing fans who go, you don't know shit about boxing. It's my opinion. Go fuck yourself, bro. Haney, I think we're witnessing a future Hall of Famer. He's got all the tools. He just moved up to 140. He looked even better than he looked at 135. He's only 25 years old. Went up and fought the world champ, WBC, I think. Got the title. He'd already be unanimous. Got all the titles down at 135. On top of that, like, I know a lot of people think he didn't beat Lomachenko, but I don't think it was a robbery. I think it could have gone either way. So people are calling it a robbery. I disagree. I think it could have gone either way. Yes, does Haney like to point fight? Does he have a huge knockout record? I mean, he does have 15 knockouts. That will come. He's 25 years old. And also, yesterday, he dropped Progress in the third round, I think, third or sixth round. So he does have power, especially as he moves up. I'm excited for Haney. At 25 years old, I think we're watching a guy that's going to be essentially the face of boxing. Also, Liam Parrow, Australian, I think it's Parrow. Liam Parrow, Australian, goes over for his second fight outside of Australia and defeats Love by knockout, TKO. Well, drops him twice and then the ref stops it. Huge for him because basically there is a chance, I don't think it will happen because Haney is, he has so many options at that weight level, but he's at 140 as well. He was supposed to fight Prograis, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, who fought Haney. So that's how close the Aussie is to getting a world title shot. I think probably one more fight to getting that, but that's how well he's going. Liam Parrow. Follow him on Instagram. I think it's Liam Parrow, so LIAMPARO boxing on Instagram. Give him a follow. Incredibly good young boxer. He had 14 months off, goes over to America and dusts a guy with incredible potential. Love. Absolutely dusted him. Also, massive shout out. Saab made his boxing debut against Cosentino Cirelli, defeating by TKO after Cirelli popped his shoulder out.
Ooh.
Congratulations to Saab. I think Leilua also had a bit of a boxing match and won his boxing match. So congratulations to Saab.
The boys are on.
The boys are on.
Jeez, he'd have some reach in the ring, wouldn't he?
Oh, jeez,
Wouldn't touch
he would.
him.
Bloody, he'd be in the corner punching in the face. My beak in his reach. Bloody hell, I'd be in my corner getting punched in the face. So massive congratulations. But yeah, Liam Paro, follow him, guys. Incredible win on the weekend. Looks super, super sharp. And just beat him with the fundamentals. That uppercut he first dropped him with, and then that straight left. Oh, it was sweet science, Guru. It's a sweet science, baby.
Was that Joey Leilua you were talking about then?
Yeah.
At a box?
Yeah.
I think he's running out for the Dapto Canaries next year.
Oh, is he?
Shout out to
the
Blakey
big
Wallace,
fella.
yeah.
Jeez, I would not like to be marking him.
No, thank you.
Fuck that.
Imagine being just some like 65 kilo little winger, stepped up to first grade for the week, and you see you're 10 out from the line, and you see Joey Leilua go to dummy half with one eye on you. You go, oh,
No,
shit.
thank you, sir. No, thank you, sir. Any other news, guys, for the last... Got anything else to get off your chest before we grab a case of Bloke beer?
I wanted to get one off you just as Mr. Cricket, just to circle back.
Yeah.
We don't have to go through too much cricket today, but the big story in cricket this week, which I'm sure you'll be across, Kempy, was in Canberra Premier Cricket, third grade, Ginninderra versus Wests. Now, shocking images have emerged over the past 24 hours of a bloke who was clean bowled middle stump, but the bails have somehow stayed in place. Now, I'm going to show you the picture now.
Okay.
I'll get Matty to add this later.
Yeah.
But as the voice of cricket, I mean, Paddy Cummins attributes the World Cup win to you. You know, you missed a big bash as well. Is this out or not out? And I'd like you to show your work. So here's the...
Yeah, that's absolutely not out. You know why? Bowl better.
Yeah?
Bowl better.
So the bail is still in place there, but the two stumps either side.
You got a weak arm. Sorry, mate, you got a weak arm. Because if you hit it hard enough, the bail comes off. Just got to bowl better, mate.
Yeah. In all seriousness, though, it defies the laws of physics. That it looks like it's Photoshop.
Well, I reckon what's happened here, and with my cricket knowledge, is that middle stump is actually dug deeper into the ground than the other ones, and it's actually not touching the bail.
Okay.
And that's why it could go over and not pull it over.
Gotcha.
Have you seen this before?
Yeah, I've seen this before, growing up, mate. Mudgy playing Narang, mate. It was quite a balmy day, and Steve-O, he'd had a few tins the night before. Fucking drew a beamer.
Yep.
Went straight to the middle, mate.
It only happened to Steve.
And what was the umpire's verdict that day?
Mate, you know what? We just got on the beers.
Yep.
We said, we stopped the game. We said, boys,
there.
the gods wants us just to have some beers together.
Yep.
Because that clearly, the cricket gods, which I'm close to,
Yep.
they clearly want the boys to come together.
Yep.
And they're really testing whether, will you go to war or will you make love to each other? And we made love with beers.
There you go.
Like, the beers were the metaphor of making love to each other.
Yep.
We didn't actually, like, the physical.
Good.
Spiritual.
Good clarification.
Yeah, spiritually made love.
Yeah.
But if you want to make love at cricket, you can.
And that was another chapter of the Mudgy Narang Book of Feuds. Of course, we saw a few weeks ago the 6 wicket to the final over.
No, but this all ties in. This all ties in because what you don't know, because you don't know shit about cricket, Mudgy and Narang are actually one team now. So that's how it all started.
Brought them together.
So Mudgy and Narang were the ones that had 6 for when they were bowling their guys out in the last innings.
Yep.
And that's actually how that team came together.
Yep.
Because of Steve-O hit the thing, the bail didn't come off. We all made love together, became one nation.
Huge. Clip that up, Matty.
What a finish for the year.
There's the law. There's the law for cricket in Mudgeeraba. Anyway, look, could we hit any lower? Probably not. Probably not. But I think that's a fitting send-off for the year.
I'm glad we cleared it up too and really got to the bottom of whether that was out or not out. But anyway, that was a big story.
Have we got any more NRL grid we want to do, or no? Thank you,
Don't
sir.
say it if you don't mean it.
All right, as always, guys, we are done and dusted. But a massive thank you for the year. We are so appreciative, and we know that we're only here because of your support. So we guys owe you. We owe you this life. We owe you this life. So thank you very much, and we will see you next year. And in the meantime, we'll go fuck ourselves.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.